Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lindsay Ritter, and this is my colleague, Justin Robinson. Today, we're excited to present Nike's marketing team with a proposal to expand the 2019 Dream Crazier campaign and cement the company's positioning as a pro-female brand. Nike's management team is faced with the challenge of finding ways to continually increase revenue and differentiate its brand from the competition. One way for Nike to solve both of these problems is to address the brand's lack of sales in the women's apparel market. Globally, the market for women's apparel is 1.5 times larger than the market for men's. But Nike reported in 2019 that women's apparel only accounted for about a quarter of the company's revenue. 2019, women's apparel sales accounted for about $7 billion in revenue, while men's apparel pulled in over double that figure at around $18 billion. While $7 billion from women's apparel is an impressive figure, Nike's sales revenue could balloon if it captured more of the female athletic apparel market and developed loyalty with the female customers. Nike has taken steps to position itself as a brand that empowers women's athletic performance by developing science-backed products that support women's unique bodily needs. While these initiatives work to provide female athletes with the gear that they need, there's another problem that Nike could allocate resources to: the lack of female representation in sports business and coaching. The world has made great strides in recognizing the prowess of female athletes as players like Serena Williams produce dominant performances. But despite the recognition of these female athletes, women are still not appropriately represented on the business side of sports. Less than 5% of all certified agents in the major leagues are female, and female coaches only account for about 28% of youth sport coaches. In 2019, Nike's own board of directors was only 25% female. Nike could help address the problem of the lack of female leadership in sports business to help the brand differentiate itself from the competition, further position itself as a brand that empowers women, and grow its share of the female apparel market. Moving into the women's activewear category, Nike is defending its top ranking against competitors other than Under Armour and Adidas. Brands like Lululemon and Victoria's Secret are managed largely by women, and they're representing a new type of competition for Nike as they design products specifically made for women's bodies and marketed strategically to female consumers. With the growing realization that the female sportswear category has a lot of room for growth, companies are fighting to create and market products specifically made for women, and Nike has a lot of competition in the quest to win loyalty over the female sports apparel demographic. As sportswear technology continues to evolve, more consumers become health conscious, and the trend towards athleisure apparel continues to grow. The demand for women's activewear is increasing year by year. The worldwide market value of women's activewear is predicted to reach over $207 billion by 2024. If Nike maintains and expands its position as the top athletic apparel retailer and claims even an eighth of that market, the brand could expect about $26 billion in female athletic apparel sales. To reach these sales numbers, however, Nike will need to take steps to acquire more female customers and become a lot more intimate with the female demographic. For this reason, Nike should expand on its 2019 Dream Crazier campaign to further position itself as a brand that supports women in sports. Nike launched the inspirational Dream Crazier campaign to spotlight incredible female athletes in advance of the Women's Soccer World Cup. Narrated by Serena Williams, the ad premiered during the Academy Awards and depicted female athletes performing incredible athletic feats and breaking barriers in sports that were once deemed crazy. The ad encourages women to dream crazier and create more room for female athletes in the sports industry. The commercial went viral, raking in over 6 million YouTube views and 28 million Twitter views within just one day. Nike's slogan, "Just Do It," experienced a 2,261% increase in mentions on social media after the commercial aired, and the ad was met with overwhelmingly positive feedback. The performance of the Dream Crazier advertisement has shown the importance of publishing pro-female marketing materials. By further supporting women in the sports industry, Nike could boost its relationship with female customers and differentiate itself as the brand that best supports women in sports. To build upon the positive feedback from the Dream Crazier campaign, Nike could create a corporate social responsibility initiative that takes tangible steps to further support women in sports. Corporate social responsibility is a very effective sales and marketing tool, as 87% of customers will purchase a product because the company advocated for an issue they cared about. Consumers are increasingly making purchase decisions based on a product and a brand's social benefit, and 65% of Americans say that they'll actually do research to see if a company is authentic when it takes a social issue stand. The younger Gen Z in particular is interested in social issues, including women's rights. Nike can authenticate its pro-female messaging in the Dream Crazier ad by creating an actionable corporate social responsibility element that benefits women in sports. Attaching a corporate social responsibility campaign to its marketing efforts can help Nike authenticate its pro-female positioning, differentiate itself from competitors, and connect with women to build loyalty and sales in the sports apparel category. While the Dream Crazier ad has helped women to see themselves as strong athletes, this expansion will allow women to see themselves as competent coaches and sports business executives. Nike can strategically benefit its market position, competitive context, and public image by supporting women as they strive for leadership roles in sports business and coaching. Nike could become a key player in helping develop female talent that will be utilized on the field and in the boardroom through our Achieve Crazier initiative. As the centerpiece of this initiative, Nike would host an Achieve Crazier conference at the brand's headquarters in Oregon for high school-aged young women. A wide variety of women in the sports industry would share about their career path, victories and obstacles while making their way through the sports industry, resources for career development, and advice for women in sports. This summit would provide not only inspiration from female role models, but also practical tools for young women to grow their careers in sports. To supplement the conference, Nike could utilize its connections with athletes and sponsored teams to host coaching clinics for young women. Nike could provide extra apparel, equipment, and funds to its sponsored teams to support coaching clinics across the country. This initiative could help Nike deepen its relationship with its sponsored teams, coaches, and players while developing future female coaches. Nike could also complement the conference by developing an internship program for women in sports business. Nike has headquarters located around the world with departments ranging from engineering to merchandising to sales. By purposely placing young women from the conference into internship roles, Nike can help develop competent future leaders while giving young women a head start in the sports industry. Nike's efforts could bring the public's attention to women's potential in coaching and sports business while developing strong candidates in these areas and differentiating the company as a brand that's truly supportive of women. These initiatives could capture the attention of female consumers and help Nike grow and retain its share of the female sports apparel market. As this category is poised for astronomical growth over the next several years, Nike could see an excellent return on investment if it manages to capture even a small proportion of the market by demonstrating its support for women in sports. Now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Justin Robinson, for the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Lindsay. And so first, I'm going to talk about some of our marketing strategies. And the first thing I think is important for any marketing strategy is to develop the message. And what Nike's message is they want to become female advocates. They want to be on the front line in the fight for gender equality. And the Dream Crazier campaign is a huge way to do that. So not only are they campaigning for women to pursue careers in the sports industry, outside or off the field, not only is that a great message that they want to be a part of that, they want to spearhead, but it's also, like Lindsay said, it's great for corporate social responsibility. And consumers love corporate social responsibility. There are tons of examples, tons of articles that say how this is one of the first things consumers look for when deciding between different companies. And so they want to have not only good corporate social responsibility, but also they really want to make a difference. They genuinely care about the quality of the sports industry and they want to help out. And so in terms of distribution, the main form of advertising will be social media. This is the most cost-efficient way to get the message out, to campaign, to market the Dream Crazier campaign. And so the main forms of social media the main channels will be Instagram and TikTok. These are the most efficient ways instead of doing paid advertisements all over television, all over the internet, where young women may not see them. So that's the reason they want to really focus on social media. There will be a commercial, however. It will be only 30 seconds long. It'll be one commercial. It'll be shot, and it will be all the content will be shot in a day. They'll do all the editing. They'll chop it up. So that's also very cost efficient. And in terms of paid advertisements on television, they want to focus on women's sporting events. And so usually some of the most popular teams for young women are the U.S. women's national team and women's college basketball team. And so they really want to focus on those two sports and sporting events around those teams, and also for a potential sponsorship from athletes from those teams. With NIL coming into the college college athletics, this also gives a huge opportunity for them as well. And so to speak more about the logistics of the Achieve Crazier conference, like partnering with the NCAA, it's kind of like their career in sports forum. So young women across the country are going to apply to Nike, going to apply for the conference, and Nike will have a board that will decide which young women to take for the program. It'll be all expenses paid. They'll have furniture, or they'll have hotel rooms, food will be paid for. And this is just a great, not only networking tool to network with other young women that are aspiring to be in the sports industry, but also people that have been there, done that. So there will be a bunch of speakers, bunch of people in the industry that have been there, done that, and to just give them advice and then network. Being in the sports industry, we all know how important it is to network. And so this just gives them a huge opportunity to get a step up on the competition. And so for the implementation, we have a main ROI and a main ROO. The main return on investment will be financial comparison. Obviously, money, we can't get around money. It's a part of the world. And so just comparing how the sales did of certain products before the campaign and after the campaign will be the main return on investment. And for the return on objective, it's the social impact. So really trying to spearhead the making a difference in gender equality is huge for Nike. And so this leads into our two main KPIs, which is again comparing sales between 3 months before the ad and 3 months after the campaign. And then the next KPI will be public relations, whether it's social media, media on television, newspapers such as the Sports Business Journal, Sports Illustrated, just seeing how the ad or how the campaign as a whole is portrayed in the media. And so what we can learn from that is consumer perceptions, which leads into our obstacles, which is people's criticism of the movement and whether they think it's inauthentic. So in terms of being critical of the movement itself, Nike has experience with that, with the Colin Kaepernick ad, believing in something even means sacrificing everything. Obviously, we're not expecting the criticism to be on the level of that ad was, but this is something Nike's shown they're not afraid to do. They're not afraid to stand up for something they believe is right, even if it means sales drop for a little bit. And in terms of whether people think the ad is inauthentic or not, there's really not a whole lot Nike can do. This goes back to more the message, more knowing your why and just doing it, as Nike loves to say. And then lastly, the third obstacle is marketing toward our products towards different cultures. Obviously, there's a bunch, if you factor in religion, other things like that, they may not be all for the campaign. And so America is our home base, and so that's where we're going to start the campaign. But over time, Nike would like to get into Western Europe, Africa, Asia, and all those markets as well. And so ultimately, the campaign is not only about generating sales, generating revenue, but like I said earlier, it's mainly about just making a difference, spearheading this change. Nike feels that this change is coming regardless. So why not spearhead it and why not lead the charge? Thank you for your time and have a good weekend.
Do you want to show our references really fast?